Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of Semi-Pro. Today it's me, Josh, and Daniel as we watch the sequel to the 1990s Ninja Turtles movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
I'm both thinking microphone, razor, siren, mini, or something.
And we back, yes sir. Hey, live and direct, coming at you.
I hope everybody knows that this is the hardest episode of the podcast that we've ever tried to make.
And it's for Teenage
Daniel's
Mutant Ninja
face.
Turtles 2.
Daniel
For a lot of reasons.
He's had the widest eyes I've ever seen in my life. So we are either about to or we already have watched Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. I don't know in the context of how this is all playing out. We're going to pretend like we haven't, though.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we have.
I've not seen this movie since I was a child. I think it's going to be a movie. I think it's going to be Teenage Mutant. I think the Ooze will have a secret. I think this won't be the most boring however long this movie is of my life. I think Dalton's mullet is coming in nicely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I think we won't find out what the secret of the Ooze is, or I take that back. We will find out what the secret of the Ooze is, and it'll be a really stupid secret.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, and it's stupid. I also think that Shredder's going to come back, and it's not going to make any sense at all how he came back, despite the fact that he was crushed by a trash compactor in the first movie.
I think it might just maybe be Garbage Day.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, but that was the first one. Oh, no, this whole thing takes place in Garbage Day.
This whole thing is Garbage Day, yeah.
Josh.
I remember that. I watched that much of it.
Josh, keep going with this bit, but do the whole plot this way. Yeah, so I think...
What? I thought...
Yeah, I'm lost. Did you follow any of that?
The bit here that we don't know, like we haven't seen the movie, so we're doing our predictions. Do the plot, but like predictions, like breakdown. Do predictions.
Like I
that's
think
good. Yeah,
like
no, that's funny.
I think this movie might start with like a overview of New York, but everybody's eating pizza. Like the first one was dark and gritty and serious. This one's like the same idea, but it's goofy because everybody's eating pizza. Like that's what I think might happen.
I think that it might. Like, you know how the first one had like a lot of like fun, like great, like action choreography and fight sequences. I think this one will have none of that, and all the fight scenes will be really janky, and the costumes will look much worse and not move nearly as well.
I think
there will be no real fight scenes, and they won't actually use their weapons.
I think that Casey Jones is going to mysteriously
have no choreography.
disappear.
And Casey Jones will become an Asian boy, an
Asian pizza
boy.
Delivery man.
Hey, yo, the pizza here. Yeah.
I also think I kind of predict that the body doubles for the turtles in this movie won't move as naturally because of the new suits. So it's going to make everything look kind of janky and weird. Like that's kind of a prediction I have. Like the whole movie's going to look kind of janky and weird.
I think all the voice actors might get worse. Except for Mikey's, maybe Mikey's was the same, or maybe Mikey's is just an easy voice to do.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna I want to actually talk about that in detail. So we're gonna watch the movie right now, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch this film. And we back.
Man, what a movie!
Wow, what a movie! We didn't even pause
Damn,
it.
that was great.
We normally pause it.
We watched that movie. Bobbin joined halfway through.
That's crazy.
The second half. What did you think of the second half of that movie, Bobbin?
There was a lot of secrets in Ooze.
Yeah, that Ooze.
There was a lot of Ooze too, and secrets.
Yeah, no, it was secretive how the Ooze had secrets. What if we just didn't watch this movie? Do you think we could ever get away with doing a podcast where we just didn't watch the movie?
Almost definitely.
And we just cool. Let's do that for Turtles in Time.
No, I'm actually intrigued for Turtles in Time because for whatever reason, I feel like it can't be as boring as this one was.
Right. No, that is true.
So I'm looking up the cast now. I did not like the voice cast for this movie. And I think it could be simply because I am used to the first one because I watch it way more.
Mhm.
But
Sure, because you're a crazy person.
so,
Yeah.
all right, this is interesting. So they recast Donatello. They got Corey Feldman
Mm.
for Donatello in the first one. In Secret of the Ooze, it was voiced
Right.
by Adam Carl. Raphael was voiced by Laurie Faso in Secret of the Ooze, and in the first movie, he was voiced by Robbie Rist. So, no, I'm sorry.
None of these people are real.
Josh
You cannot convince me that
Josh
any of these are
Payas.
actual people.
Josh Payas voiced Raphael. So it's a different voice cast for Donatello and Raphael. But Leonardo and Michelangelo are the same cast. So that explains why Mikey sounded the same. Doesn't at all.
Yeah, now Mikey was fine. I liked Mikey.
It doesn't at all explain why Leo sounded so much different. But he
Yeah.
did. I think, honestly, it was probably just the voice
only
actor.
real difference was just he sounded goofier. Like he wasn't.
Right.
I don't think his voice sounded that much.
He was probably
I think he was
told
just,
hey, this
like,
is a
act
lighter-hearted
goofier.
film, so you don't have to give it so much effort.
Right.
Right. He said, "Act goofy. Don't act like serious stoic leader. Be Mikey." That's basically what I think all of them were told was
Right.
to act
Be Mikey.
like Mikey. Just be more.
Um,
Why don't you be more like your brother? Why can't you be more like your brother? Yeah.
so
Did you see that thing he did with the sausages? He said like combat sausages, and
Yeah,
he
I-
swung them around and he used them like that was sick. I like that.
Yeah, I hated it.
I do not remember that.
Interestingly enough,
Josh,
Raphael.
Josh, you talked about that like 3 weeks before we watched that. Shut up.
Interestingly enough, Raphael does the bodysuit. The same actor does the bodysuit as voices him in the first movie. Doesn't do the bodysuit for the second movie. That's another thing. Most of the body actors in the suit were recast, and that wouldn't seem like it would matter that much because in theory it shouldn't because they're faceless rubber bodies, but it really kind of
Right.
does, and it comes across like you can tell that these aren't the same turtles, which is weird.
Mhm.
Like it's very evident, and this is my biggest gripe with the movie because there's a lot of story stuff and whatever that I could get over if I liked this version of the turtles, but I don't. And it's weird because like I watch this and they're so much more unlikable.
Yeah, they don't. There's less like charm to it. Like in the first one, you warm up to the turtles. They have a good chemistry together. They feel natural, and in this one, they feel like four guys in rubber suits.
They do, very much so. And not only do they feel like four guys in rubber suits, but they also like they're so much kiddier and cartoonier too, where there's no like number one, it never feels like there's stakes in this movie at all. Even at the ending, which we'll get to.
It feels like the movie. There's nothing to the movie. It's a flat line the entire way through.
Correct.
There's no like character arc. There's no like romance story. There's no actual story. There's just things that happen as the turtles kind of say quips, but they're not quips. They're just things that happen.
Right, and they're said in a goofy surfer voice, and
except for when Vanilla Ice turns up, then the movie's like it's kind of fun for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, and we'll get there in a minute. So from off the bat, from the first fight scene, when we're introduced to the turtles, and their voices all sound wrong, and their movements feel wrong. From the very beginning of this movie, it doesn't feel like it should. Like it doesn't feel like a Turtles movie in the same way that the first one does.
It picks up immediately after. Like Shredder has just been brutally crushed by a garbage truck, and people are still running around celebrating.
Are they?
Am I just confusing it with the end of the last movie?
You are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This one picks up. It's the same shot from the first movie at the beginning, where it's like the overview of New York, but this
Oh,
time
yeah,
instead
it
of it
jumps
being
from person to
serious,
person.
everybody's eating pizzas, and it's jumping from person to person, and everyone's got the biggest New York slice of pizza you've ever seen. And then from there, I think that's where it jumps to. We're not even introduced to the turtles at first. No, we are. Yeah. So it cuts to Kino, who is getting his pizza ready for delivery, and he's delivering it to April O'Neil's house. When he walks up to the door, nobody's there, but he hears some scuffling going on across the street. So he goes there, and there's 4 robbers trying to steal stuff from this little shopping mall. It looks like a mall set, but it wouldn't make sense because it's an alleyway. It's not really important. So Kino
That's
goes over
another
there.
part, is that
Oh, the sets are
every single
horrible.
set on this is absolutely fucking awful.
It all looks like they look like slightly more expensive Power Rangers sets. So he goes up to try and stop these people from robbing the alley that's in the middle of a mall for some reason, or a mall that's in the middle of an alley for some reason. And he's trying to fight them, and then in come the Ninja Turtles, and they do their jump freeze frame type thing, and then it goes na 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 na. So the theme is still there. It's good. I was nervous it wouldn't be, but it is.
Is that
and
not
it's fantastic.
the
Right,
Mortal Kombat
and then Josh did his silly little dance.
No, it's the Turtles.
Yeah, but it was a different version.
Yeah, it was more kid friendly, just like everything else in
Yeah.
this movie. It was more kiddie. So the turtles, they fight the bad guys, and it's. I thought the fight was really fun as a kid. It was one of my favorite. It's one of my memories from this movie, which are very few and far between. This fight was one of them. It was way better in my head. I wish it had stayed there.
I was going to say, how did that work out for you?
Yeah,
I wish it had
I enjoyed
stayed.
it. I found it to be fun.
The thing I don't like
the only fun
now,
part of the movie.
the thing I don't like now, I like people complain about the
Like
sausages and all that kind
fighting,
of stuff.
the fighting itself is bad. Like
Mhm.
none of the fighting in this movie is good, like at all. But that was the one fight where it was like it felt like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fight, where it's like it's wacky and it's goofy and it's kind of them all doing their own thing, but it's not, because
It
it's all
felt
them
like,
doing it's all them doing Mikey things. It
That's-
felt like a Three Stooges bit.
This
is
whole
what it felt
movie,
like.
there's even a Three Stooges joke where I think Donnie pokes the dude in the eyes, and he probably makes the
Yeah.
noise. My biggest complaint with this movie is that all 4 of the turtles are Mikey. That's my second biggest complaint. My biggest
Right,
complaint is that
yeah.
the turtles don't feel like the turtles. So I guess this is just part of my
My-
first complaint. They
my-
all
my
are just
biggest-
Michelangelo. But
My
this
biggest
fight,
complaint is that the movie sucks.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
This-
my biggest complaint about this movie is this movie.
Right.
this fight, I like elements of, and people always complain about the
I
sausages
like the
and
sausages. I
the
like
toys
that.
that people are
sausages were
using
fun.
as their weapons. I don't mind that. I
Yeah.
think that would be fine. The turtle suits are not good, and they don't move well, and you can tell
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
And
the stunt choreographers, they've crammed into these suits and made sweat for
Mhm.
hours upon hours upon hours to the point of dehydration. Like those people, their movements do not come across. They've made the eye holes bigger so I can very clearly see where they're looking out of. But they also
they've
fixed
made
the
the
mouth
mouths
issues.
worse.
Well, they fixed the mouth issue, but now I'm sure they just like can't breathe, so like they're dying in there.
Well, they fixed the mouth issue of they don't have a weird goofy face every time they're doing a stunt, but they have a new mouth
right.
issue of their lips are all too big except for Mikey.
Yeah.
Well, and they're all
Well, Mikey's are
smiling.
the same. 'Cause-
Their static helmets
and
are
yeah.
all smiling. They're not grimace like they were in the last one, which was goofy, but at least then it was like serious. Now they're all
Why would
they
they
have a
be,
smirk.
Why would they be the McDonald's mascot
Yeah,
character?
Nice.
Little
You made
purple
that
dude.
joke last week, I think. But
I
that
don't think
episode,
so. I think that was off top. It
that
just came off
episode
of
did
that.
numbers, so we'll hope this one does too.
Yeah, no,
Um,
big things coming.
But
for
yeah, no,
sure.
they instead of having like a grimace like they're ready for a fight, they look like sociopaths who are
Yeah,
just
they're
smiling
just-
while
they're
they're
just
like, my
they just
brother's
got
missing and my dad's
goofy-
gonna be a
It's not
school
even like an evil or sadistic grin. It's just doofy. Like they just look stupid.
Yeah.
They just
It's
look
the grin
the
I make when I
dumbest
crack a
look.
pun. Like I
Yeah.
crack a pun and then I go,
It's
Like,
it's the grin I made after making that grimace joke. I went,
yeah. Right. So Kino,
Yeah.
he's stuck in the trash can. They leave him there. They
Kino, like
yeah.
what this movie is not.
Isn't.
correct.
Anti-Kino, if you will.
what the first movie was, and this movie failed to be.
So they leave him. They steal his pizza, which I guess they paid for the pizza anyway, so it doesn't really matter. They take it back up. They eat it, whatever. April O'Neil comes home. And April, I think somewhere in here was when she went to the TGRI factory and the cameraman found the giant dandelion that Josh thought was a sunflower. I think that happened after maybe the fight stuff or during or whenever. It was at some point through that. Maybe it was before. Maybe that was the opening scene of the movie.
No, the opening scene was the pizza.
Yeah, but maybe it was after that, but before the fight. It doesn't really matter. At some point, that's happened. April's been investigating.
Nothing in this movie really mattered.
Correct. The point is, April has been investigating TGRI, not TCRI, which it is in the comics, TGRI.
Right, and not TGIF, like,
right.
thank
Not
goodness.
Like
TGI
the famous... Like the
Yeah.
famous food franchise.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. Where sometimes you can, if you go to the right TGI Fridays, you can use your Dave and Buster's card there.
Nice.
But it has to be the right one. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they'll let you do it.
So
I'll try the ones up in the north.
Yeah.
because
No,
I haven't
you can
tried
try that.
so anyway,
this is your Daniel tip for the
there's
day,
a
by the way.
giant there's a giant dandelion. It's not a sunflower. It's
There's a
not
giant
normal
sunflower.
there's a
And
giant
then
dandelion.
not a
Here's the
normal-
point. Here's the point. TGRI is the people who made the ooze.
TGI Fridays.
And we find that out. April is investigating them because she knows that some ooze is happening. So here we're setting up what is the secret of the ooze going to be. April
The
O'Neil
ooze is
comes in.
secretive.
She talks to all the turtles. She's actually cleaning, and then the turtles come home during this. She's like straightening everything up, and she picks up like a skateboard, and she's like, "Oh, Donnie," and then some comic books, and she's like, "Raph."
I'm living with the turtles. Goofy living
Yeah.
with
And then-
teenage
right.
turtle
And then
So they
ninjas.
climb in. They climb in.
Picks up a blunt and goes, "Oh, Leonardo."
No, I don't remember what
Right.
Leo's was, but I remember Raph's was like
It was a
workout
bomb.
equipment.
Right,
So
yeah.
the turtles all come in and she's talking to him and she goes, "Where's Splinter?" And then it cuts to him and he's in the windowsill. And Daniel, would you like to say what he says?
coming.
To a conclusion.
Oh, shit, now I did the racist Asian voice. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been caught out then.
So
Oh shit! I'm gonna get fucking canceled for this.
So then Splinter takes them up to the roof and kind of explains the story of where they came from. Again, it's less detailed. They're going to do it 2 more times in the movie, don't worry. But this time, he picks up the can of Ooze and he puts it together and it says TGRI. That's when we find out that they came from the TGRI Ooze.
Hey, this is when we find out where the secret of the ooze is going to come from.
Yeah, the secret of the ooze will come.
At this point, I think, is when we cut to the worst junkyard set I've ever seen ever. It's horrible. It's so
looks like
cheap
a-
looking, dude.
It's very clearly a real junkyard.
It looks like the kind of thing MythBusters would set up for a 5-minute gag.
Like it's so clearly just matte paintings of
Yeah.
trash around the edge with some
I
stacks of tires in front of it. No, it's not even there's not even trash around the edge. It's literally just a wall of stacked tires and they put some trash inside of that. Like it's so clearly a studio backlot.
Is this the one that has the giant walls of like oil drums and barrels?
Yes. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's not tires. It's oil drums with some tires in front of it. It's so
But like
bad.
it's stacked unreasonably high. It's
Yes.
literally like 20 oil drums on top of each other, replicated 15 times to make a giant wall.
It's stacked high enough, and it probably is a matte painting that they just had far enough back. At least you couldn't tell it was a matte painting, but it probably is. But it's stacked high enough where, in theory, you shouldn't be able to see over it with the camera. Like that's in theory, because you'll see Toronto, Canada's skyline or whatever when you're supposed to be in New York. You'll see a giant mountain.
You'll see the beachfront property that they use. 'Cause
You'll
this whole movie
see
was a
you'll see your
scam.
own house just like there on camera with your address exposed. But it's like
right.
It's so horrible. And so the guy from the last movie who didn't speak, I don't know his name.
Just foot henchman.
Foot henchman, the main foot
Yeah,
henchman.
the main foot
He's
henchman.
there and he's really mad. The Foot Clan is around still and they're still doing things. And he's really mad that Splinter's dead or whatever, and then Splinter shows up. He like sticks his hand comically out of the trash. He'll do that again in this movie. And then, despite the fact that he fell from a building into a garbage truck and then was crushed by a garbage truck.
And yeah, it's not like he could have gotten out in between when he was dropped off the building and crushed, because Casey Jones was waiting right there, just like ready to press the button.
Yeah, no, he
he's
was
the Splinter,
crushed.
though.
He was pancaked.
He's the Splinter, though.
He's the
So,
Shredder,
who's that?
actually.
He's the Splinter, though.
Splinter's the mouse.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought
but
Jerry was.
he's
I thought
the man
Jerry
who
was
got
the
killed
mouse.
by. He's
I
the
thought
man
Jerry
who
was
got.
the mouse and Tom was the cat.
like it's I can't stress enough how much I hate the fact that
Okay,
Shredder is
you know
alive.
what? People give it a lot of shit
Yeah.
to somehow Palpatine returned, as they should. It's an awful line, but they don't even give him the benefit of a line in this one. He's just back and no one addresses.
No,
the fact
well,
that this man was murdered.
at least in Force Awake, or what is that movie called? Rise of Skywalker.
Jedi,
Rise of Skywalker.
yeah.
And I can't believe I'm defending Rise of Skywalker. At least in that movie, he's like a super powerful Sith Lord who has unknown abilities because the Force is kind of always changing. Like, at least there's that. In this movie, he's a dude who knows
Shredder's just a
karate.
guy.
Right.
He's a guy.
He's some guy who almost lost a fight to a rat. To a
And
rat
not a superpowered
that just
rat.
learned. A normal rat that just learned kung fu by watching his master from a comical, cartoonish Tweety Bird cave.
And almost lost a fight to 4 teenagers.
Yeah.
And then I guess
And
in
then
this
lost
movie
a fight to that
did.
same rat. And then did lose a fight. Yeah, I guess.
And
And
he's
also
just back,
lost,
and he goes. By the
Part of
way,
his face or
I
something.
need the secret of the Ooze, and then he
Yeah, and
walks off
also
again.
he also lost the secret of the Ooze.
Like,
And also, I lost my mind. Where did it go? Where's my mind?
it's so stupid. And then he kind of redoes his costume with a grinder or whatever. It looks cool. They got a different voice actor for this one.
Trippy.
And he's not as intimidating, not as Darth Vader sounding, at least. So
Yeah,
it's
he
not as
doesn't
much
sound
of a
as
rip-off.
much like Darth Vader.
He's
This is when we find out that April O'Neil's this is when we find out that April O'Neil's cameraman is working with the Foot. So she brings him this giant dandelion, and that's when both I think the idea is that it kind of happens at the same time. Shredder finds out. I'm giving this movie too much credit. Shredder finds out that TGRI made the ooze that made the turtles, and the turtles find out that TGRI made the ooze. So they go, and there's this guy who's there who kind of looks like he looks just like Baxter Stockman, who's the Fly Man from the Ninja Turtles, but he's not Baxter Stockman, but he works for TGRI, so he's basically Baxter Stockman. So they go there, and as they go there, he's getting rid of the ooze. Like, he's emptying it all out. He's getting rid of all of it. He's on the last canister, and the Foot show up to try and get it for whatever Shredder's plan is. So they get the ooze. The turtles at the same time are there. They break in to get the ooze, and they have a fight with the Foot. And this is the worst fight in the movie. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's so janky and so clunky. And maybe if you're a 4-year-old, you'll like it, but it's so clunky and not very good. So they have this fight. The Foot wind up with the ooze, and they take it back to Shredder, in which he kind of begins to reveal his plan. And his plan ultimately is to make more Ninja Turtles, right? Like, he wants to make monsters to fight the turtles because it's clear he can't do it on his own.
He makes a snapping turtle and a furry.
Yeah, he makes. Oh Lord, it's a snapping turtle.
Oh Lord, it's a snapping turtle. And also a furry wolf man.
Yeah,
creature.
which, interestingly enough, I did a little bit of research. They showed up. What are their names? Tokka and Rahzar. Maybe they show up in the 2003 show.
Rocksteady.
They show up in the 2003 show, and then in the 2012 show, they have a fight with Bebop and Rocksteady, which is kind of fun. Should have been Bebop and Rocksteady. I'm sure there was something there with licensing, since Bebop and Rocksteady weren't comic book characters at the time. They were originals for the cartoon. I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of rights issue. Otherwise, they would have used them. And
Probably.
Baxter Stockman.
See, I say that probably, and they probably would have used Baxter Stockman, but at they could have used Krang, and they made the choice not to use Krang. Krang should have been in this
I think
movie.
at this point they would like this movie gets goofy, but it only gets goofy at the last like literally 30 seconds. Everything else they
No.
try and
No,
The opening
this movie
fight-
starts
this
goofy.
movie
This
starts
movie is
goofy.
goofy from the get-go.
It's not
This movie
necessarily
is-
out there, but
is
it's goofy.
This movie is
no, but
goofily.
I do think
This
Krang-
movie is goofily goofy. Goofy movie.
I was wrong in saying it's not goofy, but I think Krang requires a certain level of like out there that you couldn't
Maybe
put
out
into this
there,
movie
yeah,
going
but they're
into it.
giant
think you
teenage
could.
turtles that do karate, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
they try and play it realistic.
It's not that much different to introduce an
I think
alien.
Krang is more realistic than Shredder coming back to life.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah, but
yes.
if you don't mention that he died, you don't have to mention how he lived.
I guess that's
But they
true.
did
And this
mention that
movie
he
was
died,
made for
didn't they?
babies. Babies!
Didn't they mention that
You
he
gave me
Right, yeah,
babies!
we
Yeah,
are
well, they were upset that he was dead at the beginning.
babies.
But they don't say how he died. So that's better, I guess.
I guess.
And the turtles don't really do much from here on out until the very end. Oh, Raph
They
gets
just kind of-
kidnapped. How does Raph get kidnapped?
He just runs off. Doesn't he?
I don't
Oh,
Oh, no,
he was,
no.
like, angry about.
Doesn't the apartment get like attacked again?
No, the apartment doesn't get attacked. They did the same thing from the first movie. I remember it now, where Leo and Raph get in a fight, but this one doesn't make any sense. Like the fight is literally just Leo.
It's
Leo's
Leo
like,
going,
"Hey,
like-
clean up your stuff," and Raph's like, "You're always telling me what to do," and then he walks out the
Right,
door.
Yeah.
And then he gets kidnapped from there, and so they have to go rescue him from the comical junkyard.
Yeah.
The junkyard with the walls made of oil barrels.
The walls made of oil barrels that are probably a
Yeah.
matte painting. So they go there to rescue him. Splinter is there, and he has a bow and arrow,
Right. That he just pulls out of somewhere.
and
He
it's
pulls
just
out
like
his tail.
it's just a toy bow and arrow. Yeah, Daniel, I got
Yeah.
it. It's so goofy, and the turtles they fight off the foot to try and get Raphael back. Before this, I think there's a scene with like Splinter trying to train Tokka and Rahzar, and he wants to kill them and try again. And Baxter
because
Stockman.
they're just mindless
you mean
brutes.
Yeah, because they're babies.
Yeah.
They talk like babies.
Yeah.
They act like babies. They're so annoying because they
Yeah,
go.
You mean
And somehow
You mean
they look
Shredder.
better than the turtles.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, they look better than the turtles because they say two words. They say "Mama, Mama."
Right, but yeah, then they bend a pipe, and Shredder says Uba. He says I don't like these. These fucking suck.
He says,
he goes, "Get them out of my
"Babies,
sight."
You gave me babies.
They can't. They're childs. They're childs. Yeah, they can't do anything. Then other guy
Baxter
who didn't
Stockman.
talk, now he does.
Oh no, okay.
Well, was it? Maybe it was other guy.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it was
know. It was
Stockman.
one of the henchmen that isn't Master Shredder. Says, "All right, well, look at this," and they lift up something, big. And he goes, "Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep them because they're strong, even though I just saw that they were strong."
Is it not Baxter Stockman who tells the turtles that
know.
he has Raph or that Shredder has Raph? I think that's how that happens.
Snapping Turlaw.
Yeah. I think so
I don't
because
know.
he
I couldn't.
I
tell
remember there's
you.
a plot point where basically he purposefully made them like babies so that they'd be weaker. Like he did that on
Yes.
purpose. He like purposefully got baby animals so that they would be weaker.
I do remember that vaguely. It's
Yeah.
hard. We watched this movie, what, like
2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah,
it was
two
like
days ago, I think.
2 or 3 days ago.
And we've completely forgotten it because there is nothing that happens in this
Well,
movie.
it's not that we've necessarily forgotten it. Just nothing happens. And normally, if we're gonna take a break between when we watch and when we record, we'll take notes and stuff. But we didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So
The thing is, you can't really take notes on this movie.
Professor Perry is the guy who made the Ooze.
Yeah,
And
you mean not Baxter Stockman?
He contaminates the
Perry
mutagen
the
to ensure
platypus.
that Tokka and Rahzar don't grow as intelligent as a result, as well as them just like getting bigger. So they just get bigger, but they don't get smarter, like the turtles did.
But they can still talk? Does that mean all snapping turtles in this universe can speak?
Well, no, I think it still
Yeah.
made them smarter, just not like as smart as the turtles.
It made them like babies, but not like
Right.
not babies. Like
Right.
Like giant
You know.
strong babies who can
like
walk
giant
and
snapping
stuff.
turtle in
This
a trench
is
coat.
when Raph. Oh, do you know what this is? This is when
I like that one.
this is when the pizza guy
Gooba
goes
Gamba
to-
Go.
This is when the pizza guy goes to infiltrate the
Oh, I
foot, and
forgot this whole thing. Golly, I hate this.
Yeah,
he
this
goes to
kid
infiltrate
did.
the foot, and he has to
It's-
talk to this guy who has the biggest,
Oh,
the
he also
widest and
knows.
tallest neck
Did he
I've ever seen.
mention? Did he mention he knows? He studies martial arts. Did he mention that? Did he mention?
I
that
forgot
he
the part where
studies
he
martial
comes
arts?
back over to the house.
Yeah, he comes back over to the house. He's like, "Hey, I know you got the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles here. They're 4 giant
Oh,
turtles
and
a
this
giant
scene,
rat."
I pointed this
he
out
goes
when we
in
were
and
watching
they
it.
can't. Yeah, they can't hide for shit.
Like in
They
the
can't
first
do
movie, there's
anything. They're so
that
stupid.
super cool scene where April's boss is
Yeah,
walking
with
through
little
the house.
Danny. Yeah, literally, me almost sees the turtle, or he sees one of them. Then he looks and he's gone, and they're all like they're darting from spot to spot, and it's sick. It's epic. It's cool. It's awesome. And this one, he spots him by like stepping on his toes or something.
Yeah, Donatello's toe
'Cause
was
he's like-
literally out
he's
from
high-
underneath the mirror.
Yeah, like come on, man, get it together. You're a Ninja Turtle. You're a professional. You're a master of stealth.
So that's the second time Splinter explains their origin again in like bullet points, but this time it doesn't have the cute baby turtles where he goes radical, 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 radical,
Right,
radical,
yeah.
radical.
So it sucks.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. Everything in this movie is either not as good as the first movie or absolutely horrible, and it doesn't ever get to the point where it's anything other than those two. If it's something
Yeah.
moderately cool, then it's not as good as the first movie, and everything else is horrible.
It bounces back and forth between the first movie but worse and just plain on like borderline unwatchable because of how boring it is.
It really is. Like, I don't think we're giving this movie enough credit. And once again, I loved this movie as a kid, and I went into this expecting like a nice little nostalgia trip. I knew it wasn't going to be as good as the first movie, but I still went in expecting like some nostalgia for this movie and some excitement based off that. I expected to like the Turtles. I didn't like any of it.
I really thoroughly expected to enjoy more than just 50% of the first scene.
Yeah.
Because that's about
there's
all,
2 moments
all
of
I
it,
got.
which is about 50% of the first scene and 50% of the final scene, which
Yeah.
Dan you missed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
no,
You missed
And
the
Yeah.
best
that
part of
final
the movie.
scene was the part that I expected to hate the most.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So basically,
We're not
what
there
happens,
yet, I don't think.
what happens is Splinter
Who
goes, by the way,
cares?
this is the secret of the Ooze. And then Donatello starts talking to the
No.
professor.
Oh, hold on. We're
And what's
forgetting
the
a whole plot
secret
point of this movie.
the secret-
So, my fault. After the foot comes in again, you were right. The foot does come into April's apartment again. This is when they get Raph. The turtles are like, hey,
No.
it's not safe
The-
here.
No. Raph goes with the pizza guy to the foot place while he's trying to like get initiated. And then he gets caught.
Yes, sir.
He gets caught, which is when they take him to the garbage set. And then
Yeah.
that's when they free Raph using the toy bow and arrow and fight the
No.
new.
Raph is
No,
still
no.
missing
What?
when they go search for
Don't-
the new house.
Don't,
Raph is
I've
still
got the
missing
plot.
when they're
I've got
searching.
the plot up.
I know that. But what I'm saying is when they leave they don't know where Raph is at, but they know the Foot is after them, so they leave April's apartment to go find a new home in the sewers, because that's when they start asking, "Where's Raph?" Which is when they go and search for him. But they leave April's apartment and they go down to the sewers to find a new home area, a new sewer base. And
new sewer just dropped.
They land in like an old railroad, like it's an old, not railroad. It's like a subway station that is abandoned with a train door, but they don't know where Raph is at this point. This is before they go and save Raph, when they come to this place for the first time and like say, this is where we're going to be, because they tell April, we'll come back for Splinter, and then they go back for Splinter, and or when they go back to get Splinter, that's when they go and save Raph. And then when they save Raph, they take both Raph and not Baxter Stockman
right
back.
Then they go back to the sewer. That's when Splinter tells them about the Ooze again, and
it's the third
Donnie-
time.
Then Donnie
Yeah, it
starts
was three, they
speaking
made a third
to
one.
the professor, because he's like, "Hey, I might be able to reverse what happened to the snapping turtle, to Rahzar,
Turtle.
Snapping Turtle. Yeah.
whatever his name is." And then Tokka and Rahzar, he's like, "I can change them back into normal animals." And
Yeah,
this is when
snapping
Donnie
his
goes,
turtle.
"So what was the secret of the Ooze?" And the guy goes, "Nothing really. I dropped it by accident."
That literally, like,
Yeah.
now he didn't say it as casual as Josh said it just then, but the secret of the Ooze is, we made it by accident.
We made it by accident, it fell down the sewer by accident, and you guys happened to walk into it.
Which isn't,
Yeah.
that's not a horrible thing. It's not horrible that the Ooze was made by accident. What's horrible is this movie's called Secret of the Ooze.
Right,
And
and
the
that's
movie's
secret
been
of
building
the
up to this, like, the idea
Yeah.
that the Ooze is something significant, like, this is a cure for whatever.
Not only
Or-
has the movie been building up to it, it's the title of the movie, In a Trench
Right,
Coat.
like, yeah, the movie's title in a trench coat is called Secret of the Ooze, and
It'd
the
be
secret
like-
of the Ooze is anticlimactic.
It'd be like
there
if-
is no secret; it's non-existent.
It doesn't exist.
Non-existent.
It'd be like the Last Jedi twist, where
It's
Rey's
not me,
parents
you're
don't matter.
mistaken.
Like you know,
Right,
how
it'd
everybody
be
was
that-
so
it's
upset
like
about the Last Jedi.
The secret of Rey's origin, Rey's
Rey's
past.
Yeah,
secret of
Rey's
the Ooze.
lineage.
Yeah,
Star
the
Wars
secret of the
Rey's
Rey.
lineage, and her lineage is
Yeah.
that she didn't, like, it's so dumb.
No, because even then, it's like if the Empire Strikes Back had no Empire in it. If the Empire was there but they didn't strike
Yeah, and
back.
the Empire didn't strike back.
They would just existed, and people went, "Oh, the Empire here, okay," and that's the rest
Yeah,
of the
it'd
movie.
be like Return of the Jedi, but the Jedi didn't return.
It'd be like the Phantom Menace if you could just see the menace.
It'd be like Casino Royale if it was in a Gambling Anonymous meeting.
It'd be like Quantum of Solace if Daniel
If
Craig
Quantum
didn't
of
get
Solace.
cock and ball torture.
It'd be like No Time to Die if James Bond died.
It'd be like Spectre if it was based in reality and not a corporeal form.
God.
Yeah, it'd be like Spectre if it were
It'd be like Skyfall if it was called Ground Rise.
What?
What?
What are we
That's-
talking?
That's not important. The
How
point
did we
is,
get here?
the
What
title of the movie is
movie
Secret
are
of
Because
the
the
we
movie
watching?
itself is garbage,
What
and
movie
there's
are we
nothing to talk
watching?
about in it.
Where am I?
The point is, the movie is called Secret of the Ooze, and instead of the Secret of the Ooze being something important and interesting, which, keep in mind, I never cared what the Secret of the Ooze was.
Well, I was going to say, I was
Ever.
gonna say,
Wake
what, like,
up.
realistically,
Wake up.
what could you make the Secret
Wake
of the
up.
Ooze?
I
like,
mean, maybe,
wake
like,
up.
you could have done something like what the
The
comics...
secret of the Ooze is that it came from a snapping turtle. What is the secret of the Ooze in the comics? Mr. Lore.
the Ooze in the comics and in the 2012 show and maybe 2013, I don't know. Basically, the Secret of the Ooze
Is
is...
April O'Neil's
Isn't it
blood.
just toxic waste?
No, the Secret of the... In, like, the first few, but they elaborate on it later.
Alien.
It's
Oh.
alien, and it was made by Krang,
Mm.
and like this alien race of Krangs, and so the turtles, like, they come from this alien, like, lineage. Like, it's super interesting and cool, and they do something different. But in this, it's like, oh no, we made it by accident. That's the Secret of the Ooze. And then Donatello's really upset by this, despite the fact that that's the logical answer.
Yeah, and like, so who
And plus,
cares?
they've
Like,
been to
what?
the lab, and they've
What
seen,
is-
like, the other experiments
Also, like,
of the Ooze.
what does it matter? Like, if you,
Right, you still
made on it.
exist.
yeah,
So
Yeah, it's not
now,
Like, so what?
and
You
it's
know,
also not like
everyone's an accident.
they never set up that the Ooze was worth anything. No, like Splinter was never like, oh, the Ooze came with us for a great purpose. He's just like, oh yeah, you guys got hit
No,
with
he was
Ooze.
just like, yeah, you got Ooze, and then
You got oozed,
now,
and then you oozed your way
and
out.
I learned
that's-
kung fu as a
I
rat,
learned
a
kung fu
normal
from
rat
my
in a
comical
bird
rat
cage.
cage.
and then
In a
that's
fucking- in a
kind of
Tweety bird cage.
the next little bit of the movie is a montage where Donnie and not Baxter Stockman work on the antidote for Tokka and Rahzar while the rest of them dance around in their home that is a
Right,
train
and
station.
then they settle on the best way to give them the antidote is to put it in donuts.
Yeah, because they can't get them to eat. Yeah, so they put it in donuts. I will say I like the train station base for the turtles. I like it a ton. They use it in the next movie, and then they also use it in the next mutation, the live action animatronic show that looks exactly like this movie and the next movie. It's probably the same set. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. They definitely stole it for TASM 2 because it feels exact.
Right.
The Donnie's science stuff inside of the train feels exactly like the train stuff from TASM 2.
It's kind of wild because he keeps talking about how his father made the spider serum, and it's not related to the movie at all.
His
it's really
father
weird.
made the
He keeps
secret
saying that.
ooze, and it's like what is?
And he has all
What's he
these
talking about?
these golden coins inside a calculator. For some
He
reason.
gets really mad. He throws the calculator.
He throws a calculator
ex-
against
it
the wall. It's like, oh, this
explodes
is
and
from
these-
this train station. So this
Oh, of
giant train
course.
carriage comes out of the ground. God, I hate Tasman too.
Yeah, I think in the
just
Bay
making it all
movies they
fun.
might also be in an abandoned subway station too. Like they may have kept
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
holdover.
the abandoned subway station makes sense as a base. The Batman stole
Yeah,
it
no,
from
that's cracked. Yeah.
I really like it. That's all I'm gonna say. I really like that. That's the only thing in this movie that I would say I really like. But we're kind of getting to a more interesting point
Well,
in the
I know
movie.
we're getting to the only part of the movie that I really like.
Yeah. So the turtles they decide to go back to defeat Tokka and Rahzar to the garbage dump area. So they go back there with donuts in hand. And
No, it's not. I don't think it's the garbage dump area because there's a part in the movie where April's like, "Oh, Shredder's going to destroy everywhere if you don't go
oh
find the
yeah,
central part."
Tokka and Rahzar start like tearing stuff down in the street.
Yeah, and this couple getting in a cab and they go, "Well, what about them?" Yeah, and he goes, "Well, they're not sharing the cave with us."
And then the lady goes, "That's a snapping turtle."
Right.
But they keep tearing stuff up, and eventually the turtles come and fight them. They throw the donuts at them, and they pick it up, and don't they just like crumple them in their hands?
Yeah, it's
they
Rahzar.
say
Whatever the wolf one
garbage
in,
day.
whatever the wolf one is, he comically breaks it open with his huge hands, and he sees the antidote inside of it and throws it on the ground, and then like
Yeah,
charges towards
which
the
I like that.
turtles. Yeah,
I
that
like
was
that.
fun. I guess.
that's quirky.
I was kind of hoping they would take it so the movie would end.
Well, they start fighting them, and eventually they end up.
Yeah,
in-
it's like a mobile fight, which, once again, going back to this being one of my favorite parts of the movie, I always like when a fight like this moves. Like, it's not just in, like, one alleyway. It's going to bounce from this alleyway to this building to this place, and this is where it's going to end.
Right.
And I kind of like
it goes
that.
from like a street to a construction yard, and then it makes it into the best part of the movie, which is a
Well,
Vanilla Ice
Josh,
underground
it
concert.
goes from the studio's backlot to the studio's
To a
backlot with a
studio's
little bit
backlot.
different painting
Yeah,
to a different
Vanilla
studio
Ice
backlot with people in it to make it look like a concert.
While Vanilla Ice performs on stage.
Which I thought was going to be so corny. Like, and it was, but it
Well,
was so good.
When you say it, it sounds corny. When you say
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice concert fight,
Yeah.
like it doesn't.
So the Turtles-
It does sound corny. You're right.
You missed it, Dan. We'll watch it on YouTube
Yeah.
after we get done recording.
Yeah.
But
We won't.
basically,
That's all right.
the Turtles, they roll into this Vanilla Ice concert, and he's performing on stage, and there are all these people around to, like, watch him. And as the Turtles and Tokka and Rahzar, they bust into this place, and everybody kind of stops, and Vanilla Ice stops singing, and everybody's freaking out a little bit.
Go stop. Elaborate and listen.
No, they don't do that. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But it cuts like backstage to his manager and the club owner, and the club owner's really upset that he stopped singing and whatever. And then the Turtles are like fighting Tokka and Rahzar currently. and Vanilla Ice just improvises the turtles rap.
Man,
And so he just improvises
that's
it,
cracked.
and everybody starts like dancing because they assume that the turtles being there is part of the show. Like they assume it's part of the concert, and
Right,
he's just
yeah.
like ninja, rap, and the turtles are still fighting. And Josh
Go,
at this
ninja,
point
ninja,
said,
go.
Josh said they should be dancing right now. And then they immediately started dancing, and it was like the
Yeah.
hardest turtle dance ever.
They were like dance fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cracked.
And so they finally no, Baxter Stockman and Donatello are like off to the side while the rest of the turtles are fighting, and they
And
realize
they
that
eventually get Tokka and Rahzar to take the antidote.
yeah, well they realize that CO2 would make them tired, so they grab a
the second one.
what's
fire
a fire extinguisher and shoot it at them until they pass out, and then force feed them the medicine.
They grab a fire extinguisher and brutally beat them over the head with it.
So they
It
feed
just
them
turns
that.
into an
They
R-rated
bludgeon them
movie
in
for
the
some reason
temple.
for these like next 30 seconds.
Yeah,
And
it
at
was
this
really
point,
weird.
we assume movie's over. All right, movie's done. Movie's over. Shredder pops into the concert, and the turtles get him. They like run and jump out of the building into. No, the whole building collapses.
No. They jump out of the building, which is apparently next to a dock.
The door is open to the building the whole time. Like you can see the dock or the matte painting of the city with a dock there. And they walk out onto the dock, and Shredder follows. And as he does, that's when the whole thing collapses, and they jump into the water. And then they pop out of and it's the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen. So they pop out of the water. Michelangelo does like his goofy water spit from his mouth thing. And he says,
that's fun.
I
like that
love
from the
being a
first movie.
turtle again. He's like, I've said it before, dudes. I'll say it again. I love being a turtle.
Was it more or less anticlimactic than the Splinter Shredder end of
Way
the first
more.
one?
Way more.
They-
Because
they-
here's what's happened.
Man.
They get up and you think they're going to fight him again. But he's already
Yeah.
dead.
Of
Underneath
course.
the
But he's
rubble,
not actually dead,
They
of course.
never
He
fought
turned-
him.
He turns into Super Shredder.
Oh, I
and
forgot about
30
this.
sec-
Whoops.
Well, yeah, so they're
He
fighting
does
underneath a dock, and he gets some of the ooze, and he turns into Super Shredder for about 10 seconds, and then he starts destroying the docks. It all falls on him, and then he's just gone. That's it. That's the end of the movie.
They don't even fight him.
They don't fight him at all. He just kills himself, and then expects his hope is that by doing this, the turtles will also die, forgetting that turtles can swim.
Basically, yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
hard.
And here's what
Movie
sucks.
of the year.
Here's what sucks. All right, it's Shredder, the guy who was crushed by a trash compactor in the last, like a trash truck in the last movie, crushed,
Yeah.
made into a pancake, and some boards fall on him, and you
that
expect me
kills
to
him.
believe that he's
That
dead.
kills
And that's him after becoming Super Shredder, getting oozed
Yeah.
up. Ooze
Yeah,
style.
that's
like
him.
he
Not
oozy-
just
he
regular
oozy.
Shredder.
He oozy with it.
And he's
Bro, I think
giant,
he
like
oozy
he's
like a bird.
huge. He's like,
Yeah.
he's not even a normal size. Like
Bro's
he's
a
huge.
radioactive beast.
And some boards fall
It
on him.
also
Yeah,
sucks
like
because it's
mine.
like the only time that Shredder looks proportional.
Yeah, but
Like
he's
he's
dead.
got a costume. He's got a costume and stuff that actually fit him, and he looks kind of like comic Shredder. And you're
Yeah,
like,
but he's
oh,
dead.
you're gonna have a big fight, and it's gonna look awesome.
But he's
and then
dead.
he just doesn't.
He's
And there's
dead.
a running joke throughout this movie where whenever Splinter wants to punish the turtles, he makes them do backflips. And so the last scene of the movie is them in the in the subway station, and one of them says something stupid, and Shredder looks at him and makes him do backflips, and then he said, "Oh no, they all come home. All the turtles come home from this," and Splinter says, how was the fight? Did you keep in the shadows? And they're all like, yeah, we were true ninjas, dude. And then Splinter holds up a newspaper, and it's got a picture of all of them with Vanilla Ice.
Huh.
And then he makes them do backflips, and he says cowabunga or something, and he says, I made another funny. And then that's roll credits. And it was
Did he actually say I made another funny?
He
Is
did
that-
say I
is
made
that-
another funny.
He does.
Man.
He does say, I mean,
As in-
yeah,
in the-
I liked the backflip bit. That was very
like
fun.
that,
I forgot
yeah.
about that, but that was very fun.
But yeah,
That's
I
about
hate.
it. That's all I liked about this movie.
I hated it. You didn't even see the ending, which is the best part.
Yeah,
It's so boring. That's the thing I wasn't expecting. I may have expected it to be goofy and childish. I did not expect it to be boring. It kind of gives me higher hopes for next week because I know at least next week's plot is so weird and out there that it might be more interesting than this one. And Item said it was interesting,
Yeah.
which means it'll be
No,
bad.
I've got high hopes for titles and title.
I look forward to the kangaroo one.
Yeah, honestly, at this
that
point,
more than anything.
I
Like-
guarantee you it'll be better than this one. There's no
I
way
was gonna
it's
say
not.
at the very least, it won't be Secret of the Ooze. It will be fun. It will be fun bad at its very worst.
Yeah.
I really wish we hadn't done this because I do
yeah,
have
no. What you mean the podcast? Yeah, no.
yeah no I wish we hadn't done this movie because I have such like nostalgia for this movie, or I guess
Yeah.
had like there was something in me that just kind of like loved this movie there was like a childhood innocence that still thought this would be good, and now watching it as an adult, I hated it so much.
It's gone. It's been stripped from you, like every
Yeah,
other
honestly,
bit of your
like-
childhood.
Like
Yeah.
this was like one of the last childhood movies that I still cared about and loved, and I watched it and it's horrible and I hate it. At least I'll always have the first one,
Yeah.
which
That's true. That's all you need.
We'll
yeah.
always have the first one, and we'll possibly always have the one when they time travel.
Yeah, I'll always have that one. I've never even seen it.
No, I
No,
don't.
I've
I don't
never
think
seen
we'll
it.
quite. I don't think we'll quite have that one in the sense that you're.
I've got
thing.
you under my skin.
I've never seen it. I can't imagine it
I've
being
got
worse than
poo
this.
in my pants.
I've got 2 phones.
Yeah,
One for the plug though.
I got twos, one for the 2 and one for the 2. All right, are we done recording? I'll make some mac and cheese.
No. Final
Come on,
thoughts.
man. Final thoughts. I don't know. I watched this movie. I didn't know. I did hate it so much I left. But that wasn't because of the quality of the movie. It was a fine movie, just really boring. I would never watch this movie again.
I'm gonna disagree with Daniel. I don't think this was a fine movie. I hate every
Yeah.
aspect of it. I hate the new stunt
It
guys
had,
they got for the turtles.
backflips.
I hate the new voice actors they got for the turtles. I hate that all of the turtles are Michelangelo. I hate that even Michelangelo and the rest of the turtles are
had,
unlikable. I hate that the Shredder's back. I hate the plot
It
of this
had,
movie. I hate the
It
set
had them do
design.
backflips.
Like
They did backflips.
they did
and,
backflips and Vanilla Ice was there. That's it. That's the
and he
takeaway. That's the
had,
takeaway from
he
this
had-
movie.
he
This
had
Ninja
nunchucks.
Turtles movie, the
He had
only
nunchucks,
takeaway.
but no. Hold on. He had nunchucks, but hear me out. The nunchucks weren't really nunchucks. They were two sausages linked together that he used like nunchucks, and he said, "Haha, combat sausages." So there's that. There's that too.
It's a Ninja
10 out
Turtles
of 10.
movie. It's
Great
a
movie.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, right? One of the most interesting
Teenage
ideas,
Mutant
goofiest
Ninja
ideas,
Turtles, Teenage
like
Mutant
one of the
Ninja
most
Turtles,
successful
Teenage
properties of all
Mutant
time.
Ninja Turtles, it was an episode.
And
to the
it
power.
nothing happens. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
You've basically covered how I feel about the movie. Nothing happens, and what does happen isn't particularly good.
It's not even
Yeah,
it's
are we-
not particularly good. It sucks.
Are we done? Can I go make mac and cheese now?
Yeah, I'll close it out. Go make your mac and cheese, Daniel.
No, I mean I'll wait till we close it out. I want to get some thoughts in. I want to get some words in.
I
I want to have some words with you.
I don't like it.
I don't want.
I just
Yeah.
don't like this
It
movie.
It stinks, and I don't like it.
And
Things that I
also,
don't like
if
it.
you're a parent, don't ever show this movie to your kids. Don't
It-
give
it's-
them this
it's
feeling
wild.
that I have where like this movie's good and nostalgic and then they watch it as an adult and it makes them upset.
It's wild that the first movie, which was like shot as a gritty, hard, dark comic book adaptation, is more suitable for kids than the movie shot to be a kids film.
Also, the movie that was made essentially as what at the time would be a fan film, right? Now, they they got funding and stuff for it, whatever. It was made by a real director and they hired real actors. But it was a completely independent movie. New Line just distributed it. The fact that that movie's better than this one for a quarter of the price? I don't know. Despite the fact that it knocked off Star Wars, but that's really the only problem.
Right, yeah, sure. But Star Wars was a knockoff, so who cared? Knocking off a knockoff, yeah.
That's true. Star Wars was a knockoff of like old samurai movies too, so it kind of comes full circle.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
The main word that comes to my mind when I think about this movie is shameful.
Oh.
Yeah.
It made me feel ashamed to watch it. The people
know.
who made it should be ashamed that this is what they ended up with. There's a lot to it.
There are no redeemable qualities.
No words come to mind. Only sounds.
What sound comes to mind, Dan? Right.
Or just kind of like, ah! Shut up!
That's kind of how I feel, and it's like I don't know. It's weird because I don't remember what 3 was like. I think 3 might be worse, but I think 3 will at least be more interesting. But it might be worse. But with that in mind,
I've never seen 3, so I didn't have that. Because as a kid, like you said, like I always imagined and pictured in my head these two movies being at the same quality and enjoying them the same amount.
Sorry,
as a kid. Yeah.
Sorry for ruining
So I
that.
think.
Well,
yeah,
that's
cool.
The thing that I'm intrigued about 3
Turtles
is
in Time 3. They made a third one. It'll be less that, so I can just enjoy it as a shitty movie because I do enjoy. I enjoy them. Little.
Well, I enjoyed them too,
little
and I would have enjoyed this one if it were bad, but this one was just boring.
Right. Well, it was bad.
It
It was bad.
Well, it was bad
let's
and
not say
boring.
This movie
I
wasn't
do
bad.
remember, even as a kid, I thinking the third one was bad. So that's not a good sign. If I thought it was bad when I liked this one,
or it's a very good sign.
maybe. But this one was my favorite of the 2 when I was a kid. No, the first one was always my favorite. I really, really liked this one, and I didn't like the third one.
Right.
So
yeah,
we'll
maybe,
and I watched them all at the
third
same
one
time.
is one of the ones that you just need time and growth and perspective to appreciate a high class piece of cinematic art like
it's like BVS.
Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. Yeah, it's kind of like Inception and Matrix are the first 2 movies to really make me think.
Inception and The Matrix are the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not looking forward to next week. This movie makes the Bay movies sound good. Like, this movie makes me want to watch the Bay movies just to, like, I don't know, see what specifically the second one.
This movie just makes me want to watch the second Bay movie
because I like that
this
one.
movie done better.
Yeah. The second movie does have a lot of the Secret of the Ooze stuff in it.
It's to see Secret of the Ooze done better. That's what Shadows and what's it? Shadows of the Empire.
Out of the Shadows.
Out of the Shadows.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap this up. You'll notice that this
Thanks
episode's about 10 minutes
watching.
shorter than last week's.
Because there is no movie to talk about.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
here.
this movie. You're lucky. This one isn't fucking 30 minutes shorter.
We had to
Thanks for
stretch a
watching.
lot.
Yeah, I'm stretching like a
Title in a trench coat. All right, everybody. Next week we'll be watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
They made a third one.
I hope to see you then. They probably shouldn't have after this one. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching, and a happy new year.